Welcome back, everyone. This is the fourth part of the e-commerce app with Svelte 5. And in this video, we will be creating the customers facing side of our application. So I want you to go to your routes folder and you'll create a new folder in the routes folder. And you're going to call this customers facing. But the difference between this route and every other route that we're creating is that this is going to be a grouped route. So to create group routes in SvelteKit, we start them with parentheses, customer facing, and then we close them off with the closing parentheses. Now we can give this a different layout from the rest of our page. Now in this grouped route, we're going to create a plus page dot svelte file. We would also create a plus layout dot svelte file here as well. And what you're going to do is you're going to delete the plus page that we have here already. This plus page is svelte that we have already. This is an empty page and it's supposed to signify the root layout, but this will not signify the root layout anymore, or the root page. Sorry, not root layout, root page. This would be the root page now. So when you put your name, the name of your folders in parentheses, SvelteKit knows that this is a grouped layout and a grouped folder, and it knows to kind of like ignore this. So this would be ignored. This is just basically for structuring our application and structuring our layout. SvelteKit would ignore this, meaning that plus page dot svelte inside this customers facing is not going to reflect in the URL as slash customer facing. It's not going to reflect as this. What it's going to reflect is be as this, just simply like this, because of SvelteKit would ignore this. So when it ignores this plus page dot svelte would now be inside this roots route. If this was inside another folder, then it would be in that other level of that folder. But in this case, it's going to be, since this would be ignored and the route after customers facing is the root route, it's going to be the root page. I hope that was clear. So what we'll do now is have an each one saying this is the home page. Save this. And if you've been following along closely, you will understand that this won't actually work. And the reason why this would not work is because of on the layout, we've not actually outputted where we want this to come out. And SvelteKit doesn't know, so it's just going to have an empty page like this. In order to fix this, we're going to have to put in or render out our children on the layout. So I'll pop in my little snippets here and I'll get the children. And now that we have children, we can render out the children in this div. So if I just come here and use render, save this, you should see this is the home page on our browser. Nice. But this is not actually what we want for the home page. This is not what we want for the layout as well. So we can just leave that as is, come above here. And I want to use that nav components that we created previously. And in this nav component, I want to render out nav links like the way we did for that last layout, or the layout of the admin page. Now I'll go to my admin layout, and this nav links here are what I'm talking about. Now for this kind of use case, it would have been smarter for us to put this nav link in a different component instead of using it as a snippet. But because of this is Svelte 5 and I'm trying to show you as much of the new API as possible, that was the reason why I decided to go with this. Now we're gonna have a lot of issues here. We don't have CN, we don't have path name as well. We can fix that easily, and we get path name as well from here. make sure we fix these import issues, import page as well. I should fix that. And in nav, we can now render out that nav link. Is render nav link, and this is expecting an href. Now the first href is going to be the home page, so we use slash, and then the text would be home. See that, and we should see home appear there. Now I want to duplicate this two more times, and we have for the product. And for the others, nice. And just like that, we are done. But for this div right here, let's just give this a class of container and a my of 6. I'll go to the plus page that's felt 5, the plus page that's felt file, get rid of this. And in here, what we want is we need two different sections. We're going to have the most popular section and then the newest section. And these sections are going to be pretty similar. So we'd create a component and we use that component for both of that section. I use SFC here, and I'll just let data is equals to $ props, like so. And I'll go to my libs folder in my components. I'll create a new component called the product grid section. Product grid section does svelte. All right. Let me give my editor more real estate here. SFC. The first thing I want to do is define out some props, but let me get out the type first. Type product grid section props, and we'd have a title, which should be a string, and then we'd have a product, which would be a type of product, an array of product, and this product will be getting it from Prisma client because of Prisma actually create that type for us. And I can now define my props here, saying let curly braces would be equal to $ props, and in here I can just put the type of product grid section props right here. I can copy this and put this here, and in here I can destructure out the title and the product. So in the div, the class I'm going to give this div is just a space y of 4. Give this some space, and we have another div in that div, and in this div give this a class. First of all, make this flex and a gap of 4. Now that is not correct. In the div itself, we're going to have an h2, which is where we render out the title, but this h2 would have some class. So if I want to make this larger, so we'll go with text 3 XL, and then increase the font, make this font bold and capitalize, and we'll use button, and the button from chassis and svelte, and in this button would have a span with a text of view all, and after that span would have an arrow right. This is going to be an arrow right icon from Lucia Svelte. And we just give this some size, so let's say size 4. And the button itself, you need to just change the variant to outline and get this class space x2, and we can give this an href. So when you're using chassis and Svelte, when you give a button an href, it automatically turns the button into an a tag. So we'll say href slash product. So now this button will basically have the same styling as a button, but it would have the functionality of a link anchor tag. Now I'll save this, and below the div, but still inside the parent div, I would have another div, and this div is where we just look through the array of products. So I want to make this a grid first of all. It's a class grid pose 1, a gap of 4, medium to large, we have a grid pose 2, and the larger screens will have grid pose 3. And in the div, I can have my each block and say products as products. And in here, we're going to have a product card that would be looping through. Now we don't have that product card created yet. So let's go ahead and create that product card. But before we move on, let's correct this. I want this to be product with an S, like so. We'll create a new component called product card dot svelte, and we'll start off with SFC. And let's give this the type for the props. This will be product card props. We'll have an ID first of all. It should be a string. We'll have a name. The name would be a string as well. We'll have a price in cents. It should be a number. We'll have the description. It should be a string. And we'll have the image parts. It should be a string. Now we can get the props. Select is equals to props. I can just copy this, put this here, and I can structure this out from here. Like that. And I'll get rid of this div because I want to use the card component to cnx card. And for the roots, I'll get the roots on class. Now I know that we can't actually see what's going on yet, but just pardon. We give this a class of flex col overflow hidden. So we don't want the image to come out, to have the edges pop out, because this is going to be a bit rounded. Now, just before the card header, I want to put the image here. I have an image tag, and for the src, it's going to just be the image part. For the auth, we can leave the auth to be empty, but for the class, we'll add some field determining class. First of all, use aspect video, and height of auto, or width of full, and an object of cover. And let's make sure that we actually import the card component here, CNI card. For the head and the title section, we'll just put the name here. And for the part that we have description, here we'll be putting in the price in cents. So first of all, I want to format currency. Make sure we import that. Then we'll put price the price in cents, and I want to divide this by 100. And for the card content, this Peter, we'll leave this as it is, but we won't put the card content here. We'll just put the description, and we'll give this class, we'll say line clamp 4. And for the card content as well, we give this class of flex grow, not grow 0, just flex grow. And make sure that this format currency actually imports. And for the footer will just have a button, so get rid of that p tag, and we'll import the button from chassis and svelte. The button will say purchase, and we'll have a class of width full and a size of LG, an href of slash products slash the ID slash purchase. Now, when we are using Svelte, we can actually do column and ID like this, and it knows what to do. Usually, we have to make these backticks and then put like a dollar sign in front of this, but using Svelte, you don't actually have to do this, and it still works. So I'll save that, and yeah, that should be all for that. And I'll move back to my product grid section. Now I can loop over that product card. So I'll come below here, and I'll use product card. Make sure I import that. And what I'm going to do is just, in order to make this very simple, I will literally just spread out the products here. So we can actually just do this, spread the product like this, and it works. It's going to work perfectly. I hope so. So now let's check this out in the page itself. So I'll go back to my plus page that's felt right here. In the div, I want to give this a space of y12. And yeah, we're going to have the first section is going to be, first section is going to be the product grid section, and the name of this section would be title, most popular. And for the products, we can just in here put an empty array to save this. And yeah, you see most popular, view all, because that was what we placed in the product section. Remember, view all, then the arrow, and then we have the title here. And the other section would have here would be the newest. So I'll get rid of this title, most popular, and put the new. Now what we're going to have to do is, using Prisma, is to get this data from our database. So we'll create another file. It's going to be the plus page dot server.ts file, and in here we'll have a load function. So I'll use git load. I don't need that. All right. First of all, I want to get the most popular products. So I'll just come above here and have a function to help me do that. Get most popular products. And in this function, we just return db. Now make sure we import db dot product dot find menu, because we want to find all of those products, and we'll order by the created at in the descending. Okay, I think it's actually better if we did this last. So I don't think doing the order by first makes any sense. It kind of makes the syntax confusing. Let's start with where. I usually like to start with where. So say where is available for purchase is true. So it will only return the ones that there is available for purchase to true, which is what we want. And we'll say take 6. So it will only return the first 6. And now we can use the order by. It's not like there's any problem with the order. This can come first, this can come last. It's just personal preference. So you can say order by, be order by the order, and underscore count descending. And we'll have another function that'll do something similar, but this time to get the newest product. So we can just remove this most popular part and change this to newest. And would find product, find many, but this time we would order by just the created out. So that's actually what makes them different, this order by. For the get most popular products, it's ordering it by the ones that have the most orders, and then for the get newest products, it's ordering them by the ones that were created lastly or firstly. So we'll go with order by created at, and we use descending. Now we can come to our load functions, and I'll just use promise.all here again. Is await promise dot all, and in here we put in those functions. So the first one will be the get most popular products. The second one would be get newest products, and in this array bracket we can structure most popular products and newest products as well, and we can simply just return them here. Return most popular products and newest products, like that. Very simple, very easy, very clean. I'll save this. I'll go back to my +page.svelte file. Now I can simply just put that in this products part, replace it with that array bracket. So for the most popular section, we will return the data dot most popular products, and for the newest section, we'll return data dot newest products. You save that, and you should see the product pop up with the product card now, and everything starts to come together. So as you can see, for the most popular we have this one, and for the newest we have this one, and that makes sense because we have just one product in the store and no orders at all. So we are done with the home page. Not quite, but for now we are done with the home page. And what I want to do next is to create the product page, because if you remember, for the purchase, when we have a button, we would have to go to the product page to actually purchase that product. So I'll use my extension here, SvelteKit files, create route, and I'll name this product plus page.svelte plus page.server.cs as well. And for the product page, I just want to look through all of our products. Very simple and easy. I'll use let data just $props. Now this is us getting data from the backend. And we'll have a div right here. This div would be a grid. Maybe grid. We'll say grid. And we actually written this style before in the grid section right here. So we can basically just copy this Then I'll write it over again. And basically is what we'll be doing. We'll be looping through the product again this time. So I'll say data dot product, and I would actually import this and I would create that product return from the backend. And above this load function, I would have a get product function. And we'll make this asynchronous so that we can just await for the product. Let's see, return, await. It's not to white spell await. Await db, make sure we import db dot product dot find many, where it's available for purchase is true, and order by name ascending. And for the return, I'll just have your products. Products would be await get products. Get rid of this part, we don't need this. Let's use the S for products. Now we can save this and we can go back to our first page, the Svelte file, and no error should pop up now. And let's actually look at this in the browser, and let's go to the products page. So I'll click on the product link and we should go to the product page with that one product listed there. Thanks. What we're going to do next is actually create a way for them to purchase this product, because now we just have this purchase button. But when we click here, we are taken to this page, the product, then the ID, and then purchase. But this page is not yet created, so it gives us this not found route or not found error. So in order to fix that, first of all, let's create inside the product folder. I need to create a new route, so I'll use my extension here. And this is going to be a dynamic route, so to be in square brackets, and name will be ID, and we can put like a slash. Want to put another route in here. The routes that I'm putting here will be the purchase. That's not spell. Purchase like this, and I'll get my plus page as well, plus page as TS as well. And yeah, on this page we're going to be giving them the option to actually purchase this product. And first of all, we actually just want to show them the products that they clicked on, so they can show that this is the product that they're about to purchase. So in this div, I'll use a class, go with mx auto, width full, max width 5xl, and the space y8. In there I have another div, and this will be of class flex item center gap 4. And in that div I'll have an image, and we would show the image of the products here. In here we'll actually get this from the backend, so I'll just bring here data dot product dot image path, and we'll be using the syntax. We'll be using let data is equals to $ props, like so, and we don't actually have products being returned. So let's go to the first page server.cs file and return that. So here we're going to get that product, and we'll be using the ID provided to us in the URL to do that. So I'll do the structure from here, params, and from params I'll structure the ID, and I'll write here const product is equal to await db, make sure we import that, db dot product dot find unique where ID, and on the return, before we return, let's actually make sure that this product exists. So we just, if there is no product, we will just throw an error, and this error is going to be from svelte/kit. Say fall for not found. Make sure that we actually import that correctly. And that import was wrong. We're not importing it from console, we're importing it from at svelte/kit. And in here we can just return product like that. And go back to the plus page as well file, and we shouldn't have any issues here. So I can save this, and we should see the image of that product that we went to. Now after the image, I just want to have another div. In here, I'll pop in another div where we'll show the price. I'll just make the text LG, and I'll write format currency, go with data dot product dot price in cents divided by 100. Save that, and we should see the price right here. And that's an outrageous price, but it's just a testing product, and you get the gist. Now outside of that div, we would have an h1, and this h1 in here would have the product name. See data dot product dot name, and if I save this, yeah, the name should be there. Well, we need to make this name a lot or a little bit bigger. We'll give some class text to Excel and a font bold. All right, let's also go with capitalize. All right, better. And after the h1, one put in the product description. I can use a p tag here. Data dot product. And the nice thing about using SvelteKit and Prisma is that we have this complete type safety, and also auto completion just comes out of the box. So as you can see, when I use product, it tells me, it knows all the things that I return from the server file. And with using Prisma, we get that typing as well. We have all of that in here. So we have all of the fields that are available in product, which is just amazing. And I can pop that in, but because of this is a description, and it probably would be a lot larger than just this that I wrote here. It could span several lines. So we just want to clamp those. So we can say line clamp 3 and text muted foreground. Nice. So after all of those, just after we've done that, we've previewed the image, I want to come down here. We are still going to be inside the div covering everything, but outside the div covering the product item. I want to have here a Stripe payment form. Yeah. So we've gotten to the part where we are going to integrate Stripe. So what I want you to do is to go to the Stripe website here, stripe.com, and also you can go to Stripe as well. So this is the package we'll be using to easily add in Stripe to our application. First of all, in Stripe, we're going to need to get some few details. First of all, you're going to need to log in. I am logged in, so I can go to my dashboard from here. And once you've logged in, you should see a very similar dashboard. And I'm just going to go to API keys for developers. Wait for that to load up. And once it loads up, you should see these two keys. You have the publishable key and the secret key. So we're going to review the test key. It doesn't really matter. Um, After this tutorial is up, I would delete them. So I will just copy, uh, click to copy, and I'll copy the publishable key. And where I want to put this is in my env file. So I'll go to my env.env file, and I'll call this public stripe public key, and I'll just paste that in there like that. And I'll copy the secret key, and I'll write stripe secret key, and I'll paste that there as well. So the reason why we are appending this with public is so that we can actually use this and in the browser. It doesn't really matter, but for this we want this to only be on the server, so we don't want this to by any chance leak to the client. So what we just do is just write this without putting public in front of it, and if by mistake this is shown on the client, SvelteKit will notify us to throw an error. Ask you to make sure that we keep this key safe. I can save this file now, and Vite would restart the server because we changed our env file. Be there a second. What I want to do now is to actually open a new terminal and install SvelteKit. So you can go to this website here, SvelteKit, and install it. And click enter there. As you can see, they're telling you how to set up Stripe. You get the public key, and then you get the secret key, and then blah blah blah. But we don't actually need all of this. So after you've installed this, you're also going to need to install some things concerning Stripe as well. So what I'm going to do is I would open a new Stripe tab, and we'll go to the docs together. So now I'm in the Stripe docs. I'm just going to go to the payment section, and in here I'll go to accept a payment in quick start. Now in the quick start section, we have the guide for React and Next.js, but we don't have Svelte, but there's no issues there. All we would just do is just follow along. And first of all, what we want to do is we want to install Stripe. So I'll copy this and go to my terminal. I'll paste that in using npm. One other thing I want to do, since we are using a server-side framework like SvelteKit, it would be very nice for us to use this Next.js guide as well, because Next.js guide might have some things concerning server-side. And one thing that is very useful is using this load Stripe. It's our Stripe publishable API key to configure the Stripe library. So we want to install this as well at stripe/stripe.js, so we can use load Stripe, the load Stripe method or function. So I'll just npm I, and yeah. So you can actually read through this if you want. Very, very resourceful, very good documentation. But I will just show you how to work with it. So once you've installed Stripe, you can get some few elements. Yeah. So we'll be using those elements to actually create our Stripe form. Before we do that, we are going to have to get one very important thing from the server, and that's going to be the payment intent. So we need to get the client secrets, and we'll use the payment intent to get that. Now the payment intent is very important. It keeps this payment secured. So what I'll do here is say const payment intent will be equal to await Stripe dot payment intent, but now we don't have stripe yet. The way we'll get stripe is I'm going to just come above this load function and say const stripe would be equal to new stripe, and would import stripe from this import not in curly braces stripe, for God's sake, from stripe. And now we can use new stripe, and here we can put in our secret key. So if you remember our env, we have this stripe secret key. And the nice thing about using SvelteKit is that this would actually also complete, and it's also auto import for us. Very nice. So we can put in our stripe secret key here, and here I can use stripe dot payment intent dot create. So we create a payment intent, and here we'll say the amount would be the product dot price in cents. The currency would be USD. I want me to share this is in capital. The metadata would just have the product ID as the product ID, and use the automatic payment method, and we'll set this to enabled true, and we can check if there is a client secret. So I would say if payment intent dot client secret is equal to null, then I just want to throw error failed to create payment intent, and I would just return the client secret here as well, because we need to use this client secret. Sorry if I tell you spelling. This will just be payment intent dot client secret, like this. And yeah, now we can actually get the client secret here, and we can use it to create our payment form. First of all, we need to get the elements from stripe svelte or svelte stripe. This is going to auto import for us, so let's import this ourselves. So come above to our script tag, and in our script tag I'll just come here, because I like to give a difference between my imports and my props. The import curly braces elements from svelte stripe, and we'll not only be getting the elements, we'll also be getting the payment element as well, and the address, and the link authentication element. Now going back to that place, we have the comments. We can actually put this here. So the first one that we'll be using will be the element, so I can easily just write here elements like this, and I would want to put like a form in here because I want to style this differently, so I won't follow Copilot's suggestion. But in this element, we need to put in the client secret here. That was the reason why we had to return it. The client secret will be equal to data dot client secret, and we want to put in here stripe as well, so we need to create that in our script tag. So we'll come above this data prop and say let stripe will be equal to $sign state, like this, and this is how we create states in Svelte 5. Now this one makes the type of any, Now for the TypeScript as over there, just close your eyes and pretend like we actually had the real typings in there. I was fighting with some red lines that I didn't like, so I had to just, have to make this tutorial quick. Use any there. My apologies. Now say let elements. I want to make this small letter e. Also make this any as well. State. And we also get the loading state as well. So say let call this is loading, and this loading is going to be clearly a boolean, so we don't need to put, just implicitly states yeah false. And for the elements, we'll make this undefined. And we also have an error message state. So we'll say let error message would be a state of either string or undefined. And here we'll use undefined. And we'll have another one called error. And this one would be a string or null. And for the initial state, we'll go with null. And we can use here an onMount. And write, make it asynchronous. Now we want to get stripe. Stripe would be equal to await load stripe, and that's going to be from at stripe/stripe.js. And in here, I want to put my public stripe public key. And I just want to get that product ID because I'm using it in a couple of places. So this will be doing data.product.id. I can just say product ID will be equal to derived data dot product.id. And now we have the elements and we have stripe as well. I can put them in the elements tag. Now we have placed the elements, but also need to put in bind this to the element. I'll say bind will be elements like so. After we've done that, we can put the form that I talked about inside the elements now. I'll go with form. And this form will not have an action or anything. We just have an on submit right here. Leave that empty for now. And in here we'll have a card. So I'll say cnx card. And the title will say checkout. And the description would basically just be us returning a message. So I will just comment this for now. We'll come back to this later on. And it's going to be that error message. And for the card content, we'll have in here the link authentication element. So I'll get rid of this p tag and I'll put the link authentication elements right here. And below the link authentication element, I'll put in the payment element as well. And below that, I'll put in the address. And for the address, I'll just choose the mode to be billing. And I'll save this. Make sure I import card. CNI card. And right now the onSubmit has a error because there's nothing being passed. So we can just get rid of that for now and see the way this looks like in our browser. Right now we are getting an internal error. And let's check that out. Alright, so we have data above here. It shouldn't be so. Save that one more time and let's see what goes on. So the error that we are getting is because of the amount is crazy outrageous. It's telling us that the amount must be no more than 999,000. And here we're having like, I don't know, 10 billion or something. So let's create a new item with a sensible price. We'll go to our admin, go to the products of the admin. Then we'll add a product. And here we'll add a new product that we can actually test with. I'll call this test purchase. And we add a sensible price. I'll just copy the name and spam it multiple times for the description. For the file, we're going with the cat photo. And for the image, we're going with the cat photo as well. Save. And I'll make sure that I activate that. I can go to our home page, and we should see the test purchase right there. All right, so we saw the test purchase, but then immediately it snapped and there was an error. So let's see what happened. That was definitely a client error. And all right, number of sales. It's not able to read number of sales. That's the error it's getting. It's saying failed because of the initial UI does not match what was rendered on the server. Type error, cannot read property of undefined reading number of sales. All right, so let me go to our home page. The thing here is the number of sales is not in our home page, it's in our admin. And because of, I believe again, this should be an error with Svelte 5 being unstable. That's why we have having all these funny errors. But yeah, we don't have anything concerning number of sales here. Now we don't. So what we can do is just cut the server and run this one more time, and that should fix it. And it does. The page loads successfully. Now I'm gonna go for the test purchase, and I'll click on the purchase button, and let's see what happens there. And we are redirected to that page, but we also get this error as well. And this time, what error would this be? All right, so it says that an error occurred with our connection to Stripe. Request was tried one time, and this is an internet issue. So let me just check my internet one more time. Yeah, make sure I fix that. Let's try this again. Refresh. All right, so now it works, and as you can see, we have the card right here. We have the checkout, and we have card footer right here. Let me just get rid of my console and divide my screen. But we are still getting some things here saying, all right, so this was from the old error. And now you notice that we're actually having this form come up with the email, the card number, and this is because of, if I go back to that page, we are using this Svelte Stripe, and we're using the elements. We are also using the link authentication element, which is for the email. I'm using the payment element, which should get us the card and the expiry and all that stuff. I'm using the address, which is for the address. As you can see, we have this and we have the address line. So if you don't want the address, all you really have to do is just comment this, and this should disappear out of that. I'll give this a second, let it load up back. As you can see now, we only have the email, the card numbers, and the country. And if I don't want the payment element, I can comment. Sorry, that was wrong. I can comment this out, and I save that. And the payment element should go away. We should only have the link authentication element. So these are just kind of like building blocks, and I can use them the way I want. I can order them the way I want as well. So as you can see, we only have the email show up here. So I want to use 3 of them, so I'll uncomment those. And for the footer, I don't want this peak saying card footer. I want a button that would enable us to purchase that element or that item. Sorry. So we'll be using the button from chassis and Svelte. And we're going to see, as you can see, this is basically what's going to be, but I'm going to get rid of the color, and the size is going to show LG, and the disabled would be if, let's use this as JavaScript, would be if stripe is equal to null, or element is equal to undefined. I will check if loading, so we use let me just get rid of this. This is not correct. Would use if block. So if loading, and remember it's actually is loading. If is loading, I want to put the loader spinner. So loader, this is going to be from Lucia Svelte. It's a class of size 4 and animate spin, and else would have purchase, and right here I want to put the price, so I'll use format. Sorry, since we already have this price here already, we can just copy this here. Now to use it again like this and save this. And we're having an error because we are actually not closing that button. So let's close that button and make sure that we're actually importing the button as well. And we are. So we save this and the error should go away. So let's give our browser more real estate. And the form comes up, and as you can see, we have this purchase $100 button here. Now to make this actually be a width of full, so it actually looks better. So width full. Let's check that out one more time. And yeah, that looks a lot better now. So great job. Now what happens when we fill this form and then we click on this purchase button? Let's fix that now. So I will just create a function called undo submit to undo that. Function submit, and we'll say each, and it will be of type submit event. And in here I'll just do either prevent defaults first of all, then I'll check if stripe is equal to null and elements is equal to undefined. And I also want to check if the is loading is equal to true, and I also want to check if there was no email. And if all of that, I'll say return. And because of I'm checking if there was no email, I want to get the state of an email here. So I'll say let email rather be string or null, and so this will be equal to state and the dollar sign in front of it. No. Now this email, we're actually going to keep track of that email in here in this link authentication method right here. The way we're going to do that is actually very easy. You just come above here and use on change. I would say on change right here, not that one. I have an arrow function in here, e, and e would be, now we can put the email by saying e dot details dot value dot email, and we can keep track of what they type in here and save it in our email state. I just want to get rid of this error. I don't think there'll be need for the error since we already have the error message. There'll be no need for two states. I can save this, make sure that looks a lot better. Nice. Now I can check whether they actually imputed their email. That's just for a quick check. So now if all of that was passed, then I will start off by setting my loading, my is loading state to true, because they started the action. And here I want to make a request to an endpoint to check if this order exists. And if the order exists, I will show an error message telling them that they've already purchased the product. But if it doesn't exist, then they'll go ahead and they'll pay for this product. So what I'm going to do is create an endpoint. First of all, I will just come outside of everything here. Come outside of everything, being the root of the route. Create a new folder called API. And inside this API folder, I'll create another folder called others. Oh, let's go without an S. It's not need for an S. And then inside this other folder, I'll create another folder called exist. And in this exist folder, I'll create a special file plus server.ts. And this the server.ts, we can actually create that post endpoint. So I will say kit endpoint, and we'll go with post. We'll get rid of the request handler. And in here, I can just destructure requests as a const, the email and the product ID will be equal to await request.json, like this. I can say const order exists would be equal to await db. Now let's import that db dot order dot find first, where the user has this email and the product ID is the same. And we also want to select just the ID, like so. Save this. All I want to do is wrap this whole thing in the parentheses like this, with the including the await. And I'll do the little check here saying if it's not equals to null. So I'll say exclamation equal to null, like this. And that is going to be a boolean value, either true or false. I can just return, instead of new response, return JSON. And I'll get JSON from svelte/kit. And I'll just say order exists. I'll save this. Now I'll create an endpoint. I can use that endpoint from here. I could just type const order exists be equal to await fetch. Now I would fetch from this endpoint, which is /API/order/exist, and the options here would be that the method would be post, and the body JSON dot stringify, and in here we'll put in the email and the product ID, and the headers simply be content type application/JSON. And this whole thing we can just put it dot JSON. So instead of getting the order exists and then converting it to JSON, I can just put this whole thing in parentheses and say dot JSON, like this. And we're using await here, so we're going to have to make this an asynchronous function. Okay. Now I can say if await order exists, if this order exists is true, I can just put something in this error message and say you have already purchased this product, and we can set our is loading to false, and I can just return right here. And if the order did not exist yet, I'll check if we have a Stripe instance, and if we do have Stripe, all right, Stripe dot confirm payment. The first option here will be the element. Let me just put that in there like that, and then we have the confirm params. In here, we just put first of all the return URL. It should simply be our URL. So we'll go to our env file, and I also want to create this in our env file. I'll call this our public underscore server underscore URL. This is just going to be localhost, not 3000, but 5173. Save this. I'll just move back to our page file, and I can use that environment variable now. Public underscore server URL, and I'll just put here slash stripe slash purchase status. And yeah, so let's move on. Now that we've done that, we can actually use make sure that this actually imports. So we have any red lines here. Let's make sure that actually imported. So click here, and after that we would have like a dot then that we can use here, like dot then. And if there was an error, so we can just destructure error from here immediately. Then let's use here error. I can check if error, and we'll also check for the error type. So if there was an error, we now want to check the if error dot type is equal to add error, or add error, or error dot type is equal to validation underscore error. Then we'll say error message will be equal to error dot message to double S, and we'll say else error message will be equal to known error occurred. Save that. And right now we need to pop out our error right here in the description. I'll use my if block. So I'll say if error what am I writing? If like this, if error message, then I want to pop this in. I won't comment this, and in here I'll just put the error message, I'll give this a class of text destructive. And on this undo submit, after doing all of this, we've done the then we also want to do the final right here. All right, that's not an issue. So after then we'll say dot final. Dot finally, then we'll say loading is equal to false. Now on the form, we can say on submit would be equal to undo submit. All right. Just double check that one more time. Make sure everything is correct. And let's test this out now. Now, if we test this out, we should, if successful, should be redirected to this route here. Stripe/payment purchase status. Don't have that route yet, but that should be what will happen if this was successful. So I just put in an email here. Let's go with 010. Put in card number, we'll just spam 4242. Expiration dates, I'll go with 555. CVV, I'll go with 444. First name and last name. Country or region, we'll go with Nigeria. Address line, put any address there. Put anyone there. Lagos, postal code, and states. Lagos. I'll click on the purchase and exactly. So as you can see, it was actually successful because it redirected us to this page. And as you can see, we have our payment intent here, our intent clients here, and status says succeeded right here. So now let's create this route. All right. So on the next part of this series, we would concentrate on creating the purchase status page to let the users know whether they were successfully purchased or there was an error, and also giving them a link to download that product. And we'd also use Stripe webhooks to verify their payments, because webhooks are just a far more safer and reliant method of doing this. We can't just do it on the server, but webhooks would be a better format to follow for this video. And yeah, I'll see you out there. Make sure you like and subscribe. Really do appreciate your love. See you next time.